Emily, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the books and series that I really would like to get to in 2020. So I have my December TBR all set. I'm really excited about those. So those are the ones that are obviously top of my priority list at this particular moment, but there are a whole bunch of books and series that I would love to get to next year. Obviously I would like to get to everything on my shelf, but gotta be realistic, and one of my main goals is going to be getting my physical TBR down. So when I'm thinking about kind of prioritizing some of the books and series that I have a list that I think will be a good start to the year, and hopefully I can finish out some of these series by the end of the year. So I'll get to the only one on this list that is not a fantasy or science fiction book, and that is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. And this follows a woman named Eliza, who is the creator of a popular webcomic series, and she meets at school, a new student starts, and he is the creator or the writer of some of the most popular fan fiction that's based on that webcomic series. And I believe she knows that he's the fan fiction writer, but he does not know that she is the webcomic creator, I believe. And I've heard it's just an amazing story, and I'm just really excited to get to it. So when I'm in the mood for a contemporary story, I think this is going to be one of the first ones that I grab. So the rest of these are science fiction and fantasy, and I think most of them are series, or at least duologies. So the first one of those that I have is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. And this follows a man named Laszlo Strange, and he is an expert on the lost city of Weep. And he gets the opportunity to go when a group of people come to him and want him to essentially be their guide and their expert on the lost city of Weep as they're going to that city or trying to find that city. Not entirely sure, but I am really excited to read this. And also it's Laini Taylor, and I really love the writing in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, so I know I love her writing, and I've heard this is just a great imaginative series that is just a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to get to this one, and hopefully I can find Muse of Nightmares at some point next year and complete this duology, but I'm definitely excited to get to this. I also have Retribution Falls by Chris Wooding. This is a series. I believe there's 4 of them out. Well, I think there's just 4 to the series, and I have the first 3. And this basically is space pirates. And I only have the first 3 because I've acquired them either as gifts or incredibly cheap at library book sales. So I happen to have the first 3. And anything that deals with space piracy and is compared to Firefly is something I'm excited about. And I'm feeling space pirates. I know it's gonna come very quickly in the new year because I'm just so excited to get to this, and I really want something like this right now. So I think once I finish the ones that I have on deck for December, I really want to start this one early in the new year. And this one was on my list of ones that I wanted to get to by the end of this year. I'll be sure to link that video below as well. But lo and behold, I haven't read it yet, so it's going to go on my list of ones that I want to read in 2020, and that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is a trilogy, the Broken Earth trilogy, and I've just heard so many people talk about this and say that they absolutely love it. They can't really describe it terribly well. The synopsis is not terribly helpful, but it deals with the end of the earth, and it deals with people dealing with the end of the earth. And I think part of the plot as well follows a son that's been murdered and a daughter that's been kidnapped, and the mother needs to go find her daughter that's been kidnapped, and that's happening in the midst of end of civilization things going on with the earth. I'm not exactly sure how to describe this one, but I've heard enough about it and heard enough people with similar reading taste to me say that they absolutely loved it and loved the writing, that I'm very excited to give this a try. So I included the 3rd book in this series in my most recent video of anticipated 2020 releases, and I noted in that one that I haven't actually started the series, But that I'm so excited to read The City of Brass and the rest of this series that this is definitely going to be high on my list. I think the third one I said is coming out in June, pretty sure. I'll be sure to link that video as well. Middle Eastern inspired fantasy that involves genies and genie magic and someone who accidentally summons these genies. And I definitely want to get to this one and Kingdom of Copper before the third one comes out. So I also have Reaper at the Gates by Sabati here. So this one is one that I will need to look up and have a finalized release date for the fourth one before I ultimately decide when I'm going to read this. She's writing the fourth one now. I believe she's done with her first draft. So I think the next one could come out either in late 2020 or maybe in spring of 2021. And I don't want to go too long and not remember details from the first two books and feel like I need to reread them. So I don't want to wait too long, but I also don't want to wait too long after reading this one before getting the fourth and I believe final book in the series. And so it's going to be a delicate balance with this one of when exactly I read it. I've heard the end to this one is just an emotional gut punch. And so I want to be prepared. I want to be emotionally prepared for the turmoil, and I want to make sure that I can read it in time to, you know, still be fresh in the series, but also not need to wait a million years for the next book to come out. So at some point, I imagine in 2020, that sweet spot will happen. I'm not exactly sure when, but I adore this series so much. I love Laia and Elias, and Helene is such an interesting character as well. And yeah, I just love the characters in this so much, and I'm really excited to continue in this series and just see what happens, because it could go anywhere. Like, there's so much that could happen in this series, so I'm really excited to see where she takes it in the third book and what this emotional gut punch is that is gonna rip my heart out until I get the fourth book. And finally, I have another book that was on my list that I really, really wanted to get to by the end of this year, and it hasn't happened. But that's okay. That's what 2020 is for. That is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and this follows two different kingdoms, an East Kingdom and a West Kingdom, and they, I believe, have different kinds of magic. They relate to dragons in different ways, and dragons are a huge part of, you know, the story and these civilizations. And that's really all I know. It is a chunker, but it is a standalone. And I really wanted to get to it by the end of this year, and I don't know, it just hasn't happened. And so I'm hoping that relatively early on, hopefully late winter, early spring, hopefully I can get to this one. It is like, I've kind of prioritized my next couple of months, at least, of like vaguely I think I'll know what I want to get to in the next couple of months, and I definitely have this one on that list to read relatively soon. So we'll see if I can get to it. Another honorable mention would just be in general Brandon Sanderson. There's definitely talk amongst some booktubers that I really love that they might want to do a Cosmere read-through, which I would be so down for. I only have Elantris, Warbreaker, and the first book in the Stormlight Archives, but I don't have anything else of his, and I don't want to just jump straight into the Stormlight Archives. So I definitely will need to get some of the Mistborn books, I think, if that happens and I follow along with that readathon. So those are the books that I really have my eye on in 2020. A lot of them are series, which is why I kind of wanted to stop at that. I obviously will read a lot more than 7 books in 2020, but a lot of those are series, and so there's definitely a lot to expand upon with those books. There are so many other series that I'm really excited to get to as well in 2020, so definitely keep an eye out. But these are high on my list of things that I meant to get to this year and hopefully will get to early next year, or have planned to get to vaguely at some point next year. So what books are you excited to get to in 2020, and what books did you mean to get to by the end of 2019 but it just hasn't quite happened? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. I will be sure to link my Twitter and Instagram. That's where I like to hang out. Be sure to subscribe for more bookish content. I'm doing books every 3 days in December as part of an end of the year Bookmas series. I love this, and I love Haley from Haley and Bookland, who kind of helped start this Bookmas trend, and it's been a lot of fun, and I've got a lot more that I want to do in December, so be sure to subscribe below. I'll also put my climate channel and put that below if you're interested, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!